This is Ask GMBN. We're in the shed to answer your questions.
Okay, shall we kick it straight off? And the first question is from Daniel Rodriguez, and he says, how to put the front wheel back without the brakes rubbing after it.
Well, don't pull your front brake whilst you've got the wheel out, because that's going to push the pads together. So if you have done that, you might need to sort of get something soft in there to push the pads back apart, like a tie lever is quite good for that job.
Yeah, or even a spoon is a really good hack as well. The end of it though, not the actual curvy bit.
Yep, just don't put anything dirty in there that will get anything on the brake pads.
The next question is from Sam Hurt, and he says, are carbon frames really stronger than alloy?
I've not put it to the test myself, but that's what you hear from the manufacturers. Yes, I know people like Santa Cruz recommend them for certain riders over a certain weight. So yeah, supposedly they're stronger.
I think it is. It really depends on sort of the composition of the materials that make it up. And if you've watched a couple of those Santa Cruz videos, you actually see them smashing those carbon frames to bits.
Yes, I've seen that. I've also seen a video of someone put a Cannondale frame in a vise and squeeze it shut and it just bounces back. So it's quite impressive, isn't it, sometimes? Yeah.
Harry Patrickson is asking, I'm from the UK and me and my dad are wanting to go to Whistler.
Do it.
How should we go about doing it?
Well, there's loads of mountain bike holiday setups in Whistler. So basically you need to get yourself to Vancouver Airport. It's about 2 hours drive from there, isn't it? Yeah. There's loads of different options in Whistler, places to stay and guides, all that sort of thing.
Everything is there, everything in place. But step one is, of course, he's going to have to buy those flights.
Do it.
Okay, Nicholas Mascayaga is saying, where can I find loam?
Loam, well, there's not much of that in the UK at the moment. It's all mud. In the forest, a dry forest.
Dry forest. And loam is almost like powder when you're skiing, so if you know that sensation, then you know it's going to be awesome. And I think we should throw out a video all about how to ride loam. You're going to have to use your heels. You're going to really get back over the bike, lean right over the bike, and that's going to put all the traction on the rear wheel. If you're using that front brake too much, you're actually going to find that it's not digging in and the bike's just moving away forward from you. So you just want to be using the rear brake a lot more and just modulating on that front brake so it's slowing you down in time to absolutely rail that corner. And if you get it good, you're going to have roofs flying everywhere. RC Frenzy is asking, do you have any tips for getting less punctures in a rock garden?
A few things. I would say try and ride smoother. It's probably the first tip. Harder tyre pressures, that's going to help so you don't pinch the tube or even squash the tyre into the rim.
You could go tubeless.
You could.
Or you could even think about a different line.
Or bigger, tougher tyres.
Yeah, tougher tyres. That's a good one. Actually.
4 tips.
Yeah, 5 was it? Yeah. Ben is saying, is it okay to change from a 3x8 to a 1x8?
It's okay, but you'll probably find it quite hard work because with an 8-speaker set, you're not going to have a massive range of gears. So it's definitely going to be hard work on the climbs, I would say. Yeah,
I'm going to second that. If you are going to change and you really want to change, then go for it, but make sure you've got quite a small chainring up front so you can actually pedal up to the top, because otherwise you can be a bit scuppered.
It gets much easier on a 1x10 or 1x11.
Definitely. Isaac Jacobson is saying, how do you prevent arm pump when it is cold on a long ride?
Arm pump's a funny one. There's definitely a few techniques you can think about. So trying to get your weight through your feet more than on your arms. And that can be helped by something as simple as brake lever angle. If your levers are really sort of quite down, quite steep on the bars, that brings your weight onto them a little bit more. So try and bring them up.
It also comes down to just how hard you're holding onto the grips. If you're holding on really, really tight, then obviously the forearm muscles are going to be fully engaged and the blood flow is not going to be happening. So just loosen it off a little bit. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it, really? But
you can't always prevent it, I don't think. I've just been at Andes Pacifico doing some massive descents and I got it really bad on a couple of them just because I wasn't quite conditioned. So riding your bike more always helps.
And a great bit of cross training is rock climbing.
Yeah, good point.
So I think we should throw out a video all about how to prevent arm pump.
While riding, stay relaxed as possible. I think this is a major problem for guys who struggle with arm pump regularly, is that they are gripping so tight when riding, perhaps because they are so nervous of the terrain that they're going over. You need to have a solid grip, but not so much that you're hanging on for grim death.
Rhett Morgan is asking, I have a 1x drivetrain that keeps dropping the chain every time I backpedal on the 2 largest cogs. Anything he can do to fix it?
Well, that probably means that your derailleur isn't lined up exactly right with the cog, although you shouldn't try and backpedal too much. So I would maybe check your cable tension and also check your hanger to make sure that the rear mech is dead straight.
I was also thinking it could be something to do with crank spacing. You know, those cranks could be actually too far away or even too close, so the chain line's just a little bit off. So maybe have a look at that, make sure that you've got the bottom bracket correctly fitted and all the spaces that are actually meant to be there are there. Our Leopardo is saying, can I put 160mm shock on a bike with 140mm of travel?
Doesn't really make any sense. I guess if you're saying, can I put a longer stroke shock? Generally not. That's going to affect the bike or the angles on the bike. But it's the sort of, it isn't really the shock that determines the travel of the bike. It's the linkage and how the bike works. So the rear shock only has, what was it? Almost 2 inches of stroke on there, but that can be 8 inches on the back.
And that brings in the whole leverage issue thing. So basically the pivots are acting like a lever, and the different styles, that's why you see so many different bikes between Specialized, Giant, Scott, whoever, have all got different linkage designs, and that is why they're designed to have a specific shock size right in there, and you can't change the travel.
We have seen pros experimenting a little bit with the same eye-to-eye length of a shock, but slightly different travel. But to be honest, it wouldn't be recommended because the bike not might work properly.
And then someone called S is saying how to set the shock sag on a rear shock.
So basically lower yourself onto the saddle. That's the way I do it with all your riding kit on. So if you wear a massive backpack, make sure you wear that, and just don't bounce on the bike. Just lower yourself on, get all your weight on the bike, and that should be about 30% sag.
And we've got a full video on it, so check that one out.
So to find that sag measurement, just get yourself sat on the bike. I know some people do like to do this stood up in the ready position, but I find just getting my bum on the saddle and then sticking all my weight through the pedals works pretty accurately. It's time for the quickfire round. You ready? Right.
I'm ready, yeah.
W Lamb Warrior 2000. Does riding daily trials after school affect your performance on the trails?
Well, it's going to make you a better rider. Any time on the bike means that you're going to become better.
Trials is good skills, I think. Yeah. Dean Wardman, how can I get more confident at riding drops?
At riding drops, it's all about your technique, practicing, going out, start small and build bigger.
Exactly. Get off the curbs. That's the best place to practice. SH-MTB, how do I repair chips in my bike's paint?
Oh, this is a bit of a tough one, but there was a great comment that I read last week's show where someone actually recommended using a little bit of nail varnish. There's so many colours out there, and you can paint it to suit your frame colour.
I've heard that before, never tried it. Stuart Walker, can you do a video on bike packing? Not how to pack a bike, but adventure bike packing, please.
Yeah, we're pretty keen to do it, aren't we?
I'd love to do that, yeah. Need to get some sort of fat bike or something for that one. Kabida Raj Sual, is it possible to manual on a 29er cross-country bike?
Yes.
Definitely. Maybe slightly harder, but definitely possible. Husky 007, are any of yous going to be at the Irish EWS this year?
Yeah, fingers crossed. Last year was an absolutely awesome event. It was in fact a corker, so hopefully we'll see some of you there.
Yeah, big crowd at that race. Patrick Kozman, is 140mm travel enough for a bike park?
Yeah, definitely. But you're going to find that the bike has a few sort of limits, but you can still definitely push what you can do and be able to send most of the jumps. It's all about your skill level though.
Exactly. JT Ariaza, I'm looking at getting a Canyon Spectral AL 5.0. What are your opinions about the bike and when will they be available to the USA?
I'm sure it's a pretty sweet bike. We love our Canyons that we have, and I've heard rumors that they're going to be available in Q3, which is like July, August time, something like that. So, okay, it's time for Correct Me If I'm Wrong, and you guys have been sending in clips of you riding, and we're going to give you a little bit of riding critique. What you got, Neil?
Yeah, the first one comes from Cam, and he says, "Hi guys, any tips for me on this tiny jump behind my house?" Let's take a look.
Have a look.
If you want to go bigger on jumps, generally try and pump the bike into the face of the jump harder. So you can see Cam does it a little bit, but try and really squash the bike, especially if it's a downhill bike. It's going to try and soak up that jump. So squash it into that takeoff, and then the bike's going to rebound out and give you a bit more height.
He did have a really good landing though. He used his full body to absorb the landing. And this next one is actually from Dara. Now he sent in a clip last week and was looking for a little bit of critique. Now he's gone to a separate jump spot and wants a little bit more. Should we have a look and see what he's doing?
Yeah, let's take a look.
So he's coming in.
So we've got a few rollers and jumps on the way in.
And then he goes off the lip and doesn't quite make the full down slope.
Yeah, so a bit more speed. The way to do that is to pump those rollers before the jump a bit better. So you start clearing all of those jumps. It's all about making speed from those transitions, jumping smoothly.
And then once you find that flow, you actually find that you'll carry the speed naturally. You've got the jumping technique, the landing technique. It's just about having enough speed to get over there. And you'll have it done.
Exactly. Keep sending your videos to ask@gmbn.com and we'll take a look.
And if you want to watch some more videos from GMBN, then make sure that you click on this logo right here to subscribe because you'll never miss one.
And click down here for mountain bike tyre pressures explained.
And click right here for what is enduro.
Leave your questions in the comment section down below and give us a thumbs up if you found this video useful.